Hey, David, what were you doing at 22 years old?
I was wearing a button up going into the post office in an office with fluorescent lights and no windows every day.
Guys, Armando Padilla at 22 years old has created a wholesaling business that made him $112,000 last month. That is crazy. I know at 22, I was selling shoes at a Foot Locker store. So you got to check this episode out. My name is Ryan Haywood. I've been wholesaling since 2019. I've done over 425 deals, and we keep going too.
Wholesaling is a business model where you can find a rundown house, get it under contract, pass it to an investor, and make a $10,000 finder's fee. My name is David Lecko. I've helped people close 10,000 wholesale deals in all 50 states with the software platform called DealMachine. And one thing I loved about Armando's story is that he actually first worked for a business owner and then took that knowledge to start his own business. Armando, how much did you make on your first real estate deal?
It's an interesting question, and I love answering this question because when you start real estate wholesaling, everyone tells you just wait that 90 days. Wait the first 3 months. It's going to happen. It'll all come to fruition. And literally, I went the first 3 months holding seller appointments, cold calling people, going to postcard appointments, and nothing came to fruition. And eventually, on that 90th day, I remember I left the office early. I was working at a bigger wholesale company, just so unmotivated. I was showing some properties, and nothing was happening. And then literally on my way home, about to go inside, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I get an email saying that the deal that I got has been assigned. So literally went 91 days without a single dollar. That one deal was only an 8K fee, but it was just proof of concept, honestly. The proof of concept showed me that this industry is real and that I can do anything that I put my mind to as long as I just, hammer the phone.
Got it. What was the difference between your first 3 months and then what it took to actually do that next deal?
Honestly, just the knowing of what I'm talking about, honestly, that all of this industry really is picking up the phone and being presentable to a seller. So I think the biggest thing was understanding the concept of what I need to say and what I don't need to say. And a lot of it comes down to saying the right things and having the right tone behind it, opposed to just being, unconfident in what your offer is and the services you can provide, because we're much more than wholesalers. I think we provide sellers a easy selling opportunity for when they need a quick solution when they're in a pinch. And life happens. We can't control these people's life situations. You want everyone's life to be amazing and good. But unfortunately, in this industry, you can't control everyone's situation.
So can you give a couple examples of things you don't need to say?
I would, for example, this actually just happened yesterday. And yesterday we locked up our first DealMachine postcard, which is amazing. And this lead came from that. But I think, thank you. And I think just knowing your terminology and how to phrase stuff, because we could say the same thing, but the way you say it, it changes everything. So for example, I went to this appointment with my acquisition guy and he was bringing up the title company and he kept mentioning the title company as a third party. And it's just when you say third party, it comes out to a seller like, okay, who's this third party interest in the contract? Are you not the buyer? What is going on? And it was literally something as simple as, the title company, but it's just the way we said it came off a little bit abrasive. And the seller actually called up her mother, and her mother zoomed to the property right away after that was said. And it was just like a bomb went off because we had to explain that we're a real buyer. We're not using a third party. So some other disinteresting person isn't going to come in here when we're not here, X, Y, and Z. So just saying that phrase, it threw up a bunch of red flags, and we just had to work around those hurdles. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad you worked through that with your acquisitions person. Is there anything that you find is very important to say? Something that you might want to say before you go out to an appointment, for example?
I always am big on transparency. So I tell people, yes, I'm an investor. Yes, I'm a cash buyer, but I'm also a licensed real estate agent. So I'm going to give you my cash offer first. But in the event my cash offer doesn't work for you, I'm still a licensed agent and I still want to help you move to the next chapter in your life. And I know that selling your property is what's going to get you there. So I want to give you a cash offer in my listing presentation. And that's essentially, how I go about those. And I just think key things to say is just it's a day old rule. Just be completely honest and transparent. And for some reason in this industry alone, there's so much dishonesty and just the trust levels are just very low. I don't know what it is, but just being yourself, being honest and sticking to what you're going to say is what propels you to that elite level. Honestly.
100%. Yeah. So for those that are not agents, I like how you offer both of those options, by the way. But if you're not an agent, like one thing, like I'm not, I'll say, hey, just so you know, before I come out, I do want to give you a fair price, but I am an investor. I make money buying these homes. And whenever they're fixed up, that takes time and money of mine that's tied up for a period of time. So I'm not going to give you the highest and best offer. Is there a reason why you'd want to sell it to me rather than listing it for full price with an agent? So I'll try to just kind of back off in that way transparently. And if they say, oh, well, it sounds like it's not a good use of our time, I save myself an appointment. But if they're still interested, then I know this appointment's very real. It could turn into a deal. So that's just one example of something I always try to say before getting in the car and going out there.
And I think too, market also matters tremendously. Like I'm in the Phoenix, Arizona market, Maricopa County, Pinal County. It is an insanely competitive market out here. So if I give a cash offer and don't leave that other option of me potentially, getting it on the market, it's just shooting myself in the foot because another agent's going to go in there. They can be doing the same thing I do, giving cash offers, but me utilizing that listing option, it's able to, make the most of that marketing dollar, truthfully. And whether or not I put it on the market or not, just putting it on the market, us as agents, we're not genies. We can't promise that things going to sell. It just gets the eyes out there. So I just like being able to, yes, I love wholesaling and I give my cash offer first. And I'd say out of every 10 wholesales we do, we only get 1 or 2 listings. We're mainly pivoting that cash offer option. It's just good to not let those, opportunities dwindle away and waste marketing dollars.
For sure. So I know when you started, you weren't as confident speaking, but it looks like you've made 4,000 calls in the last 3 weeks, cold calling. So are you making those calls or do you have somebody in your team making those calls?
So the biggest thing with me is delegation. So I have a team that cold calls Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I cold call probably 1 or 2 days a week whenever I can find a couple free hours when I'm not holding appointments. But for the most part, every day I have 3 cold callers in the Philippines. They're cold calling probably 300 to 400 of those numbers per day. And then I have 2 in-house acquisition agents that are also dialing. And then me, myself, of those, like I would say of those, I forgot what the metric was that you said, of that 5,000 to 4,000, I'm probably only doing like maybe 500 of those calls. But it's mostly my team. And I praise my team every day for, being able to work not only for me, but for with the organization that we're building. And it's crazy the numbers that are happening right now because that dialer, those numbers you were telling me, like 6,000, we're probably doing, let's see, I have it right here. I was using an old dialer before. I was using Mojo dialer. I don't mean to, say names, but we were doing about 2,700 cold calls per day. And it's just the data in the triple line dialer wasn't as effective. Like we're getting the same contact rate today, opposed to doing 4 times the amount of dials with the other dialer. It's just the data that you guys have, the service providing you guys have, it all works hand in hand and it works so good because we could just be calling an absentee list. We could just be calling a pre-foreclosure list. But it's not targeted and it's not direct. And it's not like you have a sense of connection with that seller. And with a competitive market like Maricopa, Pinal County, you need to have a one-on-one relationship with that seller. So I have it to the point where we just get a new grid every day. And I tell my callers, hey, like we're actively doing deals in these neighborhoods. Tell them that we just bought this address and we just want to pick up another one. And we're actively looking to buy your neighborhood. It's not like we're just, kind of casting a wide net over the market and hoping that we get something. We're individually picking streets, calling directly in those neighborhoods, making sure that we don't miss up on anything that we should have scooped up.
Right. Well, triple line dialers used to be very popular, but they just trashed the number reputation. It shows up as spam. So we've done a few things. One of them is make sure it's single line dialer. And also the data is really, really good, integrated in DealMachine. You don't lose any connections or data quality by importing, exporting, et cetera, either. I'm curious, what's a good contact rate, would you say?
I think right now, so we're averaging, let's say right here. So right here, for example, yesterday, we had 549 total dials made. And we contacted 69 people. So that's roughly like 9 to 10% conversion rate on the contacts made. The dialer that we came from before was about 2 to 3%. It's just we're hammering all these extra numbers, but since it's triple line, they're picking up and hanging up right away because it's one voicemail or it's putting them on the wait queue. So that's one thing too, is that the whole mindset behind a triple line or single line dialer completely shifted ever since I joined DealMachine because it's a lot more intentful. You're making that one call to the one owner to get that one property. You're not calling 3 people at a time to hopefully spray and pray and just grab a bunch of leads.
Right. Yeah. So what does that screen say contact rate? Because I know you said 500 out of 69 were connections, but you're calling 2 or 3 numbers per property even. So basically,
actually it's a lot more than I thought. So total collective calls made on this DealMachine menu, 4,975 calls made, 616 total connections. So we're hovering right around a 27.5% contact rate, which is drastically
different. That's what I see too. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well, which is great. So how many deals did you do before you actually hired somebody to cold call for you, by the way?
So I was doing wholesale at a bigger box company out here in the Maricopa area for about a year. I was with that company for a year, and I look at that place that I went from as just mentorship opportunity. Like, I was learning everything. My very first day for that interview for Exact, it was hilarious. I literally just a black shirt like I'm wearing today, just came in, did the interview. It was a group interview with 8 people, and they were all in suit and ties, fully buttoned up, down to the nines, like they're about to go to church. Walking there with my black shirt, and I was the youngest person in the room too, and I did not have the credentials to even get the opportunity to get the job. But for whatever reason, for some reason, they gave me the opportunity. And like I told you, I went that first 90 days not doing a deal. And then at that company, I ended up closing, I think, around 15 or 16 deals, but it was through their systems, their processes. And then one day I just woke up and I was like, look, I'm so young that I could stay at this company and this could be a bigger opportunity. But, even if I end up, I'm 22 now. So even if I wake up one day and I'm 28 and this wholesaling thing is just now taking off, I have all the time in the world unless I die. So it's like, let me take the opportunity cost now. Let me try to figure this out for myself now, because 6 years down the line, I'm going to look back and be like, thank God I did that. Like, really, thank God, because I have X amount of experience. And you can take away everything today, take away my money, take away my connections, take away the office that I have, take away the team that I built. It's all about what I know and the experiences that drove me to where I am today, that I could just lose everything and go start up a new company within 30 days to at least have 2 or 3 deals on that board. So, yeah.
Right. Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast, because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom. I highly recommend working for an entrepreneur, at least even if you have to take a pay cut, because of the knowledge that it gains. I did the exact same thing when I was 23, worked for an entrepreneur for 2 years, and that gave me the confidence to know the plan that I need to take to start my own company. And so great job on doing that. Another thing about your story is you had that experience before you hired some Philippine VAs to call. And so a brand new person, I wouldn't recommend they go hire people to call, because they'll be lighting their money on fire. They won't know if they're doing a good job calling or not, because they haven't made any deals yet either, right? So they kind of need to know how to do it before they hire someone else to do it.
To highlight on that marketing burn, the whole cost of it, yeah, it's absolutely true. So I had 14 to 15 VAs from this year, January, February, March, April, May. And I was just burning capital down the drain. It was just going down the drain, because not only was it so much overhead and so much hourly wages to commit to, it was the data that they were calling, which just wasn't the best data. So it's all just a waste of time, because they can be calling 10,000 people a day, but their data that they're calling, and they're not even going to hold the right person half the time. So I was burning literally probably 25, 28 grand just during that 6-month period, just on bad data, paying out wages, the 2-week wages that I pay biweekly. So yeah, I had a huge VA team at one time, but it took me having all that experience, being in the field, really seeing what's wrong and realizing that I don't need this amount of people if the data that they're calling is so bad. So I trickled down it. I got rid of a lot of people on the team and just really focused in on getting better data, so that when we are ramped up to that scale again, we're going to be getting 10 times more better results, because the data is just so much better. So yeah, I don't recommend anyone if you're just getting in this industry today, I wouldn't hire someone until you do your first 4 or 5 deals, because it's just you doing the calls yourself, you picking up the phone every day, you meeting the sellers. It's just the experience you're going to learn. You can't learn it anywhere else, honestly. That's why I'm so appreciative of this industry. Like yesterday, for example, we were just at seller appointments all day, and I'm 22 now, and my little brother just turned 18. He's actually in the office down the hall. Just the fact that he's 18 now, and we're just getting these experiences where we're in these sellers' living room negotiating the biggest sale of their life probably. And this is probably the biggest decision they're going to make in their next 10 years. And we're there trying to figure out how to piece this together the best way. So I think the experience wise in any other business, like I can't name another industry where you could go get that level of grit and experience,
Right. And a hot tip on the data, just in case you didn't know. So it is very good and accurate in DealMachine. There's still a gap of 20% of properties that don't have an exact match. There's a small magnifying glass you can click next to the owner name, and you can get the officers of that company or every person named Armando Padilla, if that's the actual property owner, you see everyone with that name in the country ranked by which one we think it is. So if you ever have property, you just don't have the data, just remember there's like a magnifying glass.
I did not know that. That.
Yeah, it's called the private investigator tool. It's very small, very powerful.
I'm gonna start
It's
using
like
that.
it's like the little gun on Men in Black where he's got the noisy cricket. That's what that is.
Strong hand right there. But honestly, it's just, I appreciate the opportunity too. I got this text last night. I think you're over there on the East Coast. You text me at like 7:30, which means it's already 10 o'clock there. So you, David, yourself, you're always hustling. I can tell. Always trying to make the needle move.
Absolutely, man. I'm on the central time zone now, so it's not as late as you thought, but I'm glad I'll let you think that I was hustling at 10:30 p.m.
Right. Well, that's just how it is, man.
So, okay, where are you going to go from here with your business, Armando?
Honestly, the fact that I don't know why I never used DealMachine when I started my wholesale company, because I started this operation last March, and we went a whole year and a half without any of your tools. But I see myself ramping up on direct mail. Honestly, direct mail is something that I used when I first opened the company, but I only sent out a batch about 4,700 postcards that first time, but it wasn't through you guys. And the connectivity rate and the conversion rate was terrible. Of those 4,700 that we sent the first time, only one deal came to fruition. There's probably only 4 or 5 appointments from that. I started using DealMachine's mailer on July 2nd, and I've already sent out, I think, 7,800 postcards. We've held 7 appointments from it, and we have we'll just converted our first contract yesterday. We have about 4 or 5 other ones on our fingertips that we've already held. So I see myself ramping up on the postcard usage. Your guys' mailing, the whole mailing category you have is so tailored to what we do. It's so direct. You just click a button, 2-3 days later, the mail's already delivered. So you can't ask for something better than that. And I see myself honestly just probably getting back to the point where I can get like probably 6 to 7 more callers and just getting back on the cold call stuff. But I honestly think just sticking with DealMachine for the long term, for the next year or so, at least, just solely marketing through DealMachine is what we're going to be doing, because it's already within the past 30 days. We're getting so much more connectivity. It's crazy.
Is there something that you want to accomplish revenue wise or lifestyle wise that you're building your business in order to achieve?
Honestly, this whole thing that with wholesaling is you're just trying to build that consistency, but everyone's level of consistency is a lot different. So, because we all see our lives out of our own 2 eyes. So my level of consistency is I want to be at a point where we're cranking out a consistent 75 to 80 grand a month. We're at 75. Our biggest month that we hit was in last December. We hit 112K. But like I said, with consistency, the month after that, we literally goose egged. So the whole thing is like just building up the system to where we're at that consistent benchmark of, we know, okay, X amount of deal flow is coming in. We have X amount of deal flow closing. And then because the reason why I started wholesaling is not because I love real estate, not because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Those are reasons why I do love real estate. I have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's not why I'm doing this. I'm just doing this solely because I want to build a cash generation monster. And this is the probably only pilot that I have, being 22 years old, that I can go do that with the little experience that I had when I did start. So my goal is to get this to that level so that I can do other ventures. Like for me, I love like cars. I love drifting. I love, like, I drive a Nissan 350Z stick shift. Like, I don't care that it has X amount of miles. I just love the car. I love the rigged feel. So my goal is to build a giant cash flow machine so that I can go do those other ventures and go have fun. And I have, not only myself, but a couple other friends that would love to pour into their businesses. But I don't have the capital that I want to yet because, I'm only 22. But
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah,
well,
building
wow, impressive that you're only 22. And I could certainly relate. I mean, my passion is racing. So I've been posting on my Instagram that it's not just if you want to do financial freedom, but if you want to do a hobby like racing, it's expensive. So that is a reason to build a business, to get into real estate. So plug my own, it's DLeco. Armando, what is your social media, by the way, if somebody wanted to connect with you as we wrap up?
My social media is Real Armando Padilla. That's my Instagram handle, Real Armando Padilla. And then on Facebook, it's just Armando Padilla. And then everything, if you're looking to connect with me in the Maricopa Pinal County for real estate deals, I come across tons of opportunities every month. Just Google Venture Pad Homes. That's our company. Feel free to just reach out directly. But yeah.
Got it. Well, this was a great episode to not only hear how you were calling, which I knew about and why I invited you on here, but also the direct mail aspect. So Ryan, I was kind of curious to ask you, because you're coaching a few people now. What are their marketing methods that they're focusing on?
Every one of our students is 100% direct mail. It's the easiest, and I always refer to direct mail as a passive form of marketing. You can send out direct mail, and then you're simply just waiting for a phone call to come in, so you can spend time going out and adding more leads. So, and I've always personally been 100% direct mail too. We've tried other things, but direct mail just seems to be giving us the kind of lead quality that we want. We do tons of deals with just that one thing. So
awesome. Dealflowacademy.com is where you could check that out if anyone's interested in Ryan. Armando, just really appreciate you being here, sharing the success you've had since you've started wholesaling. Not only have you hired VAs, but you're also doing direct mail. There's a discount in DealMachine, by the way, if you're buying over $10,000 of direct mail. So reach out to the support, ask about that, and we can hook you up with that as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to get another bulk drop out, convert some more leads. But yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, guys. Honestly, you guys' product for this industry, I'm surprised it's not everyone's using it with every team, because it's just revolutionary. Just the connectivity rate it's changing everything. Like the fact that like yesterday, we held 3 appointments in the field. We're only a 2-man team. Well, now 3 with my little brother, but he just shadows me on every appointment right now. But 3-man team, and we're cranking out probably at least 8 appointments in the past week and a half off of your guys' data. So we're hustling.
Dude, I love it. Thank you so much for the kind words, but glad it's actually working well for you.
Yes, that's the thing too. You got to put the work in every day. You got to make sure you're in the office making these calls. You can't just have the great tools and have the great systems and not put the work in. So yeah.
Well, you're inspiring all of us with your 4,000 calls that you've made in 3 weeks.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll check in again in a month.
Yes, sir.
We'll
Take
talk
care.
to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.